Thank you very much for this opportunity, and first of all, the organizers and also the participants for the interest, because I know that it's for me personally, it's a bit new concept of this online format, because I used to have this energy from the audience and to feel the questions and uh, and and what is in the head of people when presenting, just to feel the audience. But this is also another concept of online conference that just break the distance between the countries. Today, I'll speak about gender issues in water resource management in Armenia. And first of all, as you can see here, we'll pass by water resources in Armenia in general, then the state of gender equality or inequality in Armenia, then water supply and municipal services, sanitation and women's vulnerability, women's workload on all of this, decision-making processes where women are involved or not, employment opportunities for women, and women's environmental concerns. So water resources in Armenia. Armenia has abundant water resources, and most of the drinking water comes from groundwater. Uh, Here you see the basin management areas of Armenia, and the rivers in Armenia are tributaries of the main rivers of the southern Caucasus, namely the Arax and the Kura River. Uh, the Kura River is a river that flows to Caspian Sea, so it's also related to Central Asia. Yes, I can say it, in this way it can be related. And about 76% of total territory of Armenia is part of the Arax Basin, and 24% of the Kura Basin. So the 14 sub-basins of the two main river basins have been grouped into 5 basin management areas. On the map, you can see that areas in Armenia, and there are like more than 9,500 rivers, and seven of them are longer than 100 kilometers. And typically, Armenian rivers are coming from the mountains, and they have more seasonal. They are more seasonal uh, and have more seasonal variation, and have low water flow in summertime. We have two big freshwater lakes, Sevan and Arpi lakes. And Sevan Lake is the largest in Armenia, and it lies at 1,900 meters above sea level, which makes it a strategic source of energy and irrigation water. So it's very important for irrigation and hydropower generation for the country. And also, the lake is also important for recreational, natural habitat, and cultural resource. It's a cultural resource for the Armenian population. And the area surrounding the lake is a protected area. So you can see the importance of also the flora and fauna inside and surrounding the lake. Okay, what's the state of gender equality in Armenia? We inherited an official policy of gender equality from the Soviet period, which led to important improvements in the legal and social status of women, as well as their active participation in the labor market. But after the independence, like since the independence, we noticed more patriarchal views and customs in the society. But on the other hand, also this post-Soviet decade is so the growth of diverse women's civil society organizations dedicated to advancing women's rights and gender equality. And the country has also witnessed the development of a solid legal and policy framework for the protection of equal rights. Actually, the country has scored consistently high in equal access to education and positive health outcomes for women. But on the other hand, we see the lack of progress in women's political empowerment and their involvement in decision-making processes in local and national levels. Just to give you an example, we have ministers, and just one of the ministers is a woman. Well, this can give you an idea about that their their involvement also in decision-making processes, and also they are not too well represented in local government and local governments like on level mayors. We can see just a few mayors or head of communities. Well, Just to pass to water supply and municipal services, then we will connect all this gender and water. So almost all urban and rural residents in Armenia have access to non-contaminated drinking water that comes from groundwater or springs and only requires chlorination or disinfection. As you can see on this on this table, almost 100% in urban and more than 98% in rural areas have access to non-contaminated drinking water. But having access doesn't mean that it's easy for them to get that water. In some remote villages, water is supplied without disinfection once every 3-4 days. And household surveys conducted in Yerevan and all 10 regions show that 94% of families have centralized water supply. But 54% did not have hot water piped to their premises. So you know that how women are especially more vulnerable in this case because they have their gender role is determines the fact that they are they are more staying in the house and have need more water for their work in the house, for taking care of the children, or for cleaning stuff. So in this case, you see that they are more vulnerable. Also, when water is not piped into the houses, these women has to go and collect from public pumps. So the water is accessible, but not in every house in Armenia. Of course, we have problems also in the water supply. Mostly the problems are related to the old network and system that was created during the Soviet period, and now system is need of upgrading. Also, there's very high water losses, and these high water losses are due to deteriorated and leaking pipes in one hand, and also to human factors such as meter tampering by using magnets, leaving the water running, and using second and third unmetered unlet pipes and residential units. And also, this is some culture thing because people don't have this water saving culture, and water has always considered like a gift, not something that has to be used carefully. For the country, there are key priorities in the sector, like increasing the proportion of the population that has access to potable water for at least 12 hours a day, because actually right now, not every community has access to water all day or 24 hours. No, in some communities it can be 3-4 hours a day. On the other hand, priority is instituting a water metering system and also working with communities on water use and management and also savings. Uh, well, when we come to sanitation, the situation is really sad because even though in urban area it is improved, but rural area the situation is not like that. So when we say in general, we say improve sanitation facilities. It includes flush systems, pipe sewer system, and septic tanks, pit latrines, or composting toilets. In rural communities, only 5% are connected to a central sewer system. The rest just make their own provision for sanitation, such as latrines and septic tanks, as you can see on the picture. Well, in sanitation, women become more vulnerable. In general, 25% of families in Armenia do not have flushing toilets in their houses. 15% do not have bathrooms. 23% of households, mainly in rural areas, are not connected to a centralized sewerage system. So here we have as women are dealing more on with household activities and cleaning and taking care of the children, and they are more vulnerable, like they are more vulnerable in these situations, and they have more they suffer more from the lack of bathrooms and normal like basic uh, lack of basic facilities for in the house. Also, outside of the capital, public buildings, for example, kindergartens, schools, and clinics, including maternity hospitals, are also often not connected to a sewage system. Uh, uh, just to give you an example of a village, um, during Soviet times, the school in Hyannis village had flush toilets for teachers and students, sewage pipes connected to a drainage canal, and a piped water supply system. This system is out of order, forcing students and teachers to use dirty and very bad smelling latrines outside the school close to the drainage canal. The school used to have one simple pit latrine for about 200 boys, male teachers, and 200 girls, female teachers each. Um, in order not to have to use the latrines, many students and teachers avoided drinking during school time. You imagine of the case in what's happening in many rural communities, and it is a big contrast between rural communities and the cities and the big cities. Here are some statistics on that, saying that 60% of females never or rarely use the toilets in the schools, and 70% of males never or rarely use the toilet in the schools. This behavior is due to poor sanitation facilities, and they were largely concerned by two factors: that the toilets and stations were not clean, and on the other hand, about the social implications of using the toilet, and reported feeling ashamed to do so at school. Women are more vulnerable. Female teachers, who make up the majority of school staff, and also the girls who have special needs related to their hygiene. Um, Improper water supply and sanitation services contribute to girls' absenteeism from school, and in addition, women carry the main burden of caring for children or other family members who become ill from waterborne diseases. Okay, as for women's workload, women are the major users of water in households for preparing meals, cleaning, laundering, bathing children, tending household gardens and livestock, and other domestic duties. Women play a major role in collecting and purchasing water for domestic use, storing and managing it. They are extremely affected by water limitations. In areas where water is only available for a few hours a day or on certain days during the week, families fill barrels with enough water to last them until supply is resumed, as you can see in this photo. When there is no centralized water supply, it is mainly women, usually girls and children, who collect water with rather big containers outside the immediate vicinity of their homes. And a significant proportion of women's time is spent obtaining water and managing its use in the house. And establishing baseline data for assess changes to women's workload is critical to determine how water supply and sanitation projects have benefited them. Families often purchase drinking water when the quality of piped water is poor. Here, the households are, led by females, uh, they are more vulnerable and are at risk of more impoverishment. We can see like what for decision making processes. There are three cases here. These are cases of Asian Development Bank study in 2015. One case is in Bert in the north of the country. when two serious outbreaks of waterborne diseases happened in a local kindergarten. That had affected so many children that there were insufficient hospital beds to care for them. The women stated that they could merely bring publicity to the issue, since women will not be allowed to take control when important resources are at stake. Another case in Gyumri, it's also in the north, it's in northwest part of the country. This is the second biggest city. The local maternity hospital has one toilet in very bad condition. The women expressed the view that because men do not use this facility, its repair is not a priority. Another case, an initiative by several women who asked the head of a local village to install a toilet near a local landmark where they saw potential to attract tourism. According to women, the male leader responded that having a paid toilet would be a shameful way of earning money, and it was not a priority for the village to establish a public toilet. Um, well, the level of maintenance of water systems and the quality of water supply services often depends on personal qualities of the village mayor, its background, experience, leadership qualities, and management skills. Here, women are vastly underrepresented in local political offices. So only 2% of mayors are female, and all of them in rural areas. So women's priorities may not be represented in local decision making. I don't even speak about gender mainstreaming in different problems or in different areas. Um, as for employment opportunities for women, when we study the companies in water resource management sector, private companies, we see that 25% of all employees are women, but they are dealing mostly with administrative work. For construction work, we see just a few women working because it is considered as male work, men work. Um, as for in the state office, state committee water economy, no women occupy chair or advisory roles, but they are instead heading some departments like financial department, procurement, or external relations division. So women are here. The women are more working in um, administrative work, doing more administrative work, and not having decision making positions. Uh, just to sum up also, women's environmental concerns. Women are well represented in civil society organizations concerned with ecology and the environment in Armenia. Women have more concern for clean water, the health of their children, and mitigating climate change. Men are perceived to be primarily motivated by money and less interested in the long-term impacts of nature resources use. Women as an entry point for behavioral change concerning concerning waste disposal, because they have the role mainly in the family to educate children about waste management or about protecting the environment. And here I've just included some references uh, that you can pass through later. Yes, and I will be glad to hear your questions and to discuss with you.